If somebody's guilty of something, and they truly are, that comes with consequences in the community, and there's a punishment portion.
Yes.
But,
Agreed.
They could be punished, but let's start looking at, okay, we know they're going to come home. 95% of the people are coming home.
Right.
Why don't we begin giving them services, giving family services at the time of sentencing before they walk out that door, so they're set up for success when they come home. They're coming home with that hope. And again, I always say they lose it because it's so frustrating when you come home. But if we start laying that groundwork and working with individuals, they will hopefully never go back.
I am a man of honor, integrity, and promise. I pursue all righteousness. I love my family. I will not put my family in harm's way. There is nothing that will keep me from doing the right thing. I am an ambassador of hope and a man of discipline. I am a man worth following. I am a TYRO.
Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And today we have a wonderful, wonderful dear friend of ours with us to celebrate life, right?
Yes.
And to share his journey in criminal justice. Welcome Tom Luettke from Lucas County.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for making the trip out to the middle of nowhere, cornfields, to join us on our podcast.
It was a beautiful, cloudy day.
Beautiful cloudy day. We are so thankful that you've been able to take time out of your busy schedule because we know working in a big town like Toledo, Ohio, big city, you got a lot of hats to wear, right? Especially in the role that you now perform in, right?
Yeah, we're doing a lot. We're doing criminal justice reform, the reentry work, and just nonstop.
Nonstop. So let me ask you this. So would you think that your work is like, are you doing like triage? Are you in urgent care in your capacity when you're working with all the people that you work with?
In my capacity, I'm really more big picture, working with elected officials, judges, overseeing grants, going after grants, trying to bring partners from the coalition into funding, the people that are the boots on the ground like your team, trying to find the funding to keep things moving, to keep the work happening.
So I would say it's more like triage. Because you got to constantly.
Where's the need?
Yeah. Where's the need at? How do we fill it? Let's go.
And my direct work I do is really through the reentry docket or any type of legal services when somebody has a bench warrant. Oftentimes our advocates come to me and say, hey, this guy's got a warrant. Can you help him? We'll go to court, get that cleared up. Because it was predating his or her prison sentence. So most likely the judge is going to dismiss it, and that's usually what happens. So
how long have you been doing this work? What is your title now?
Reentry Coordinator at the Criminal Justice Coordinator.
But you're
Council.
a lawyer, though, right?
I'm a lawyer, and I still practice part-time criminal defense. That's all I do.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
So that's how we got into this work, because I was an attorney, and I'd have clients coming in for probation violations or on judicial release and not following what the judge wanted them to do. And then I'd hear them say, there's no jobs out there. They'd come in frustrated. I thought, what's going on here? And that's when I started getting involved and got involved with the Reentry Coalition.
Yeah.
Got involved with Judge Kuhlman. He has a reentry docket at the Toledo Municipal Court. And things just started taking off from there. I was a volunteer for about 4 years. This position opened up, and then I applied for it. Was able to maintain a part-time practice. So it's been a very good fit.
That's
wonderful.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, you're a lawyer, but a lawyer who loves people.
There's nothing better than reentry work. You're helping people that are. I think everybody has hope when they're coming out, and they get back to the community, and they start to lose that hope when they keep hitting these roadblocks, and everybody says, well, you got to bring this paper back, or you got to go over there. And it's just so confusing and overwhelming for individuals, especially when you've been away from the community for extended periods of time, and things have changed so rapidly with technology.
We all start somewhere, with questions, doubts, and the unknown. But growth begins when you take that first step, when you seek the right guidance. Through insights, self-reflection, and real-world experience, you will build the skills necessary to become someone worth following. It's about overcoming your past and embracing the person you're destined to become. Growth begins with you. Empower your future with TYRO.
One of the things you do of your many hats is that you also work with housing. Can you tell us a little bit about, why do you care about housing and what do you do?
Yeah, housing is a huge passion of mine. When you come home, if you don't have housing, it's going to create so many obstacles. Transportation, employment. How are you going to go and apply for a job? You may not even have your documents you need to get permanent and permanent housing and employment. But then you need a place to lay your head to have a stable life. So I've really taken a focus on getting involved in groups since I've been in this position that can impact housing in the reentry area. I've been on the Toledo-Lucas County Homelessness Board, served as its president for a whole year with no executive director. That was fun. Let me tell you about that.
Oh, gosh. Oh,
So you were acting in both roles then?
I was writing, I was signing every check that went out the door that year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big lift.
So we reduced the size of the board during that time. We rolled out Housing First in our community during that time. So we did a lot of great things.
Yeah.
And now there's some good staff that have taken over that are continuing the good work. I'm currently president of the Toledo Fair Housing Center, which is doing a lot of great work with discrimination in housing. And, when you have a criminal history, there's a lot of discrimination going on. And we're trying to eliminate that in our community. So housing is an option for everybody, because I think housing is a right, not a privilege. So we're working really hard on that. And a lot of our grant focuses are on housing. We've started our master leasing model with some funds we got for the Ridge Project. And we hope to get more grant funding to expand that in the area and really finally address the housing needs and be able to get at least people in a transitional housing and then into permanent housing eventually.
Yeah, we would love to see that grow in Toledo, even if we were able to work with you in finding an apartment complex, finding something that we could really create that pathway for somebody who comes in. Here's a 1-bedroom apartment. Hey, we're going to help you manage this, something so small, because we believe he was faithful in the little things will be faithful in the big things, but we don't want to overwhelm you with, okay, here's a 4-bedroom home and you're in here by yourself. No, that's not going to work. Let's put you here. Let's get you started understanding how to pay the rent, pay electricity, pay the water, and everything that a lot of us would take for granted.
Yeah, and I think part of the housing is just also learning to be a good neighbor. And like, how do I interact with people in my sphere of influence in my own neighborhood? And then it goes into your city, your county, your state, and just kind of flows. And I know that you have done a ton of work with Judge Kuhlman, especially around really creating pathways for people to be successful through reentry. I love the, knocking down all those, old warrants, old kind of things sitting out there. And so where do you get your passion from? Because we always see you on the front lines. So
I grew up in a very poor neighborhood. My mother was a waitress for 20 or 30 years at the Northwood Inn. I mean, she made great money because it was a very high scale restaurant. Yeah. But I grew up in an area where most of my friends ended up going to prison. Wow. And so when you see that, it's not something I wanted to do, wanted to get involved in. And then I graduated college with a accounting degree, didn't really like sitting in a room just doing numbers.
Really?
I'm more of a people person.
I cannot see you as an accountant. That's
so
funny.
I went back and got my law degree and did not want to do business law or tax law. I really wanted to do something that could impact people, especially seeing individuals, including my brother, that got involved in the criminal justice system. And kind of just went down that path and loved doing it. And love the work. A lot of my clients that I represent end up being found guilty. I can't change the actions that happen on the day of the event, but I can make sure their constitutional rights are protected. And if the state violates it, then it's better to let somebody that's guilty go free than put an innocent person in jail. So that kind of led to the reentry work. And when I got involved in the reentry work, just seeing people that do the work and their passion, you just feed off from each other.
So much synergy.
So there is. In the whole area of reentry.
The whole movement.
Anywhere you go with reentry, it's just like it re-energizes you. When you come back to your hometown.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but we've heard several times inside the prisons as people are going home and they're going home to Lucas County, they say, well, oh, you're lucky, you're going to get lukey, right? And I'm like, wow, so your reputation precedes you, that you do fight for justice and fairness. And sometimes you find people in communities that they fight for justice and punitive punishment. And that, that's something we really respect about you, Tom, in your work, is that you really fight for fairness. You say, okay, how can I help this person be a successful, law-abiding, contributing citizen, what do I need to connect them to? What do I need to knock out of their way? And I mean, what a powerful legacy.
Well, along those lines, Judge Coleman and I, we are very close, and a lot of our thoughts are the same. Yeah. We're very two conservative guys. Nobody in the community thinks we are true Republicans, but we are. And let me explain that. The criminal justice budget item is our largest budget item, federally, state, locally. And being a fiscal conservative, we want to cut down all the spending of government. We don't want to make government bigger. Yeah. And what better spot to work in corrections and get that line item down, get people back to the community, get them successful, make sure they're maintaining the hope they came back home with, and plus they're paying taxes.
Yep.
It's a win-win, and I think it's a very conservative thing.
We agree.
Whereas a lot of conservative values are lock them up, and we're totally against that because we know that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
We've tried that.
Well, one of the things I love about what you do, and you're like Batman and Robin, you and Judge Coleman. I don't know who's Batman, I don't know who's Robin. You guys have to figure that out, right? But
depends on the day, I think.
Right? But I do appreciate you being willing to put yourself out there, and really put yourself on the front lines, because society, they don't, nobody's patting you on the back. They're not.
Few are.
Maybe a few, but they're not cheering for you. You can, because once a
go
person,
help the people returning.
I have friends asking me, "Who'd you get out today that you shouldn't have got out?"
And unfortunately, that's the way it is. But that doesn't stop you from helping
absolutely
people.
Not.
Because that's not how your DNA is. Yeah. At the end of the day, you talk to yourself and you say, did I do the right thing today? Yeah. And that's what I appreciate about you.
And it's not what you do, it's who you are.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it's like, it does not matter where we've seen you or heard about you. It's the same story. And that's what, really gives credence to the work you do. It's like, you're not doing it for some award. You're not doing it for some recognition. And let me just show up here, get on stage, do this, and then go back to doing whatever I really do. Every single place, whether it's where we go to ACA on a national scale, whether we're at the State House, whether we're in a prison, whether we're in a neighborhood, whether we're at the Reentry Coalition meeting, it's the same work, the same passion of, I think Tom Luettke's involved in that. And we always say, of course he is. Of course he is.
But we really appreciate that about you, because people can count on you.
Yes.
Your commitment to them becoming successful, this isn't just, I'm going to get this.
It's not a hobby.
Yeah, it's not a hobby. Yeah. This is who you are and why. Your why. What gets you up in the morning? Yeah. People's despair gets you up in the morning so that you can help them get on the track of success.
So having said that, in a Tom Luettke perfect world, what would it look like from the point that somebody is indicted to the point to the end of their sentence? Like what are things that you say, gosh, if I could fix the justice system, maybe it's one thing, maybe it's two things. What would be the big things that you would try to address, or even the little things that might produce big changes?
I think we have a very fair criminal justice system, and I know people listening to this are going to probably cringe at that, but for the most part, especially in Lucas County, let me caveat that by saying Lucas County. We have what's known as the Toledo way in Lucas County of practicing law. Wow. We don't have prosecutors that generally, and nowadays, we've had a couple cases that we've seen come out recently where they've been exonerated and released. We are not seeing the extent of police reports. I think with computers now, it's very difficult to hide stuff. And I don't even want to accuse prosecutor's office of hiding stuff, but there's been times where stuff's not turned over. I think now we have a very good bunch of people in the Lucas County area, at least, that all want justice, including the prosecutors. They're willing to dismiss cases.
Oh, that's great.
But we got to look at one thing. If somebody's guilty of something, and they truly are, that comes with consequences in the community, and there's a punishment portion.
Yes.
But, they could be punished, but let's start looking at, okay, we know they're going to come home. 95% of the people are coming home.
Right.
Why don't we begin giving them services, giving family services at the time of sentencing before they walk out that door, so they're set up for success when they come home. They're coming home with that hope. And again, I always say they lose it because it's so frustrating when you come home. But if we start laying that groundwork and working with individuals, they will hopefully never go back.
Well, I love what you said. Working not only with the individual that's about ready to be separated, reentry begins when day one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Day
Yeah.
one. But now working with the family.
Yeah.
Right?
So everybody's stabilized.
So because if a dad winds up going to prison, what was going on at home? What was going on that the domestic issues?
Sure.
Can we help address them? Can we bring healing to that family so that mom or the significant other, whoever that is, the caregiver, they're equipped and ready to take upon this journey that they're about ready to do, not alone. Let's help them build something so when he does come home, he's coming home to something better than the way he left it.
Exactly. And that's what, is great about the work you guys do, because that's one area that you focus on, where we have other organizations that are great with substance abuse, mental health.
Right. It's not our wheelhouse.
Those type of things. But with family, the family unit, I don't know of anybody else that does the work that you do to the extent that you guys do it. And that's where it starts is that family unit. And I think why we have a lot of issues today that we have.
Yeah. I mean, we're coming up on April, which is, we know, National Reentry Month, but also Ohio's Forgotten Victims of Awareness Month. And I always, when I start talking with people, it's kind of the same thing, because, I'm conservative, we're conservatives, and they're like, help me understand, why do you do this work? Why would you develop a Hug-a-Thug club? And I'm like, we do not have a Hug-a-thug club.
Yeah. You hug me, babe.
Yeah, except for right here. That's right. This is the only thug I hug. And
I even hug him.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's right. And it's like, the families, if we don't do something different, we're going to keep getting these generational cycles of incarceration, which is tied to poverty and, the disintegration of communities. And we have to intervene. And if you don't want to do it on behalf of the person who committed the crime and is going and they're serving their sentence and there are consequences, and you don't want to do it, you say, okay, well, the mom chose this life and she knew what she was getting into. Those kids didn't. Absolutely. And so if for no other reason, like if you can't find it in your heart to say, let me help change a child's life, well, then, I'm just like, I step back and say, help me understand your world perspective. So those kids and their futures are disposable. That's what you're saying. And I love the holistic picture, because we are not the fix-it-all. You're absolutely right. We deal with the family, and then there's substance abuse, there's housing, there's the driver's license.
There are so many facets to helping a family become successful. The American dream is possible for anyone. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
And I believe what you're bringing to them is a way to show, look, this is your part of your story, but that's not the end of your story.
It's not your life. It can be an event and a lifestyle.
Absolutely.
So what do you think is the biggest barrier? So as you've worked with people and you think about your past, your whole career, and you think about, this particular part has been the most challenging, what would you say that is?
We've made a lot of let me talk about some of the things we've done really well. The driver's license, we've done a lot of work there. The courts have changed their local rules to make it easier for people to get valid. They're doing registration blocks.
Now, this is Lucas County.
Statewide, it's happening, and I think there's the recent bill that passed that impacts driver license suspensions. I think they're requiring registration blocks instead of warrant blocks.
Oh,
warrant blocks prevent you from getting valid. So we've made a lot of progress, not only through the reentry docket, but with systemic changes to allow people to get valid, so they're not driving without a license. We've made a lot of advances in Lucas County with transportation. We really pushed for TYRO to have a sales tax revenue instead of property-based, and they did pass that, which expanded the breadth of where TYRO goes, allowing more people to get to work.
That's awesome.
Good. So things like that have happened systemically. Housing is a big area. While we're doing a lot of work, it's still a challenge.
Yeah,
sure.
Huge challenge, especially if you're coming home on the registry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's
there
near
is
impossible.
constant work being done. We have Safe Haven that's doing work to potentially create some housing for people on the registry, whether it be like a master leasing model. But there's groups like that. We have the Impact Coalition that's impacting poverty by the Getting Ahead While Getting Out, the Getting Ahead classes, the Bridges Out of Poverty for people that work with people. So like you said, poverty is an issue. All those issues, transportation, but we've made some progress. I feel like we made progress in housing. We've done a lot of work, but there's so much more to still do on that.
Yeah. There's so many nuances around housing. And as we just begun getting into housing in the last year, maybe year and a half now, it was really surprising to me because I was like, of course we can do this. Of course we can. And then it's like, wait, are you serious? I mean, I say that so many times. Are you serious? Like that's an issue? Are you serious? Yeah. And so Dan says, okay, before you say it, you're going to say, are you serious? I'm like, okay, here we go. What's happening?
Well, we had those housing choice vouchers. That's money in their pocket. And we had challenges.
I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
So I could not believe it.
We are learning a lot and we're growing a lot. But really what we appreciate is people like you to come in, because we don't understand everything, right? We know our lane. And that's one thing that I think that we do really well. We stay in our lane and we bring in other partners. We form this coalition of people who are good at what they do. Because as Cathy said earlier, we're not the fix-it-all.
Oh, no.
And we're always open to, hey, look, here's a situation. We need help. How do you fix it? What's the solution, right? Before it gets even worse. And working with humans, right? That's our biggest, because there's so many different models of the way people think, right? There's no one way. There's no fix it all.
Right. There's no this is the path for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, not at all.
I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And together we have been working with tens of thousands of couples for the last 2 decades.
And we have been helping couples understand that nobody's right and nobody's wrong. They're just each seeing it from their own perspective and unable to bridge together.
So when's the last time you were in a discussion with your significant other or your spouse and you had a disagreement over something so small that turned into something so big?
So many of the couples we work with have this experience where they argue about something because they only see it from their own perspective.
So I'm looking at it from my vantage point, and guess what? Frankly, I'm only want to see it my way, because it's my way or the what? The highway.
Over time, what happens is these issues start to pile up and they create more and more distance between couples. And so now we're arguing about every small thing because we have to defend our perspective.
As we began arguing, it really was apparent whose side I was on. I wasn't on her side and she wasn't on my side. In fact, we were on opposite teams.
We became enemies, and what was more important for us was to be right than for us to actually understand each other. When couples do this, they continue to erode their relationship. What you need to do is get the issues out from between you, move them out in front of you, and remember that you're a team able to navigate through anything together by seeing all sides of the issue.
Now remember, there is nothing more important than us.
In this dynamic program that's internationally recognized, you're going to learn how to resolve conflict, how to get on the same page and listen for understanding. Couple communication, which was written by Dr. Sherrod Miller and Dr. Phyllis Miller, will actually help you be on the same team and recognize the power of resolving conflict together.
One of the greatest tools that you're going to embrace is really coming to the understanding that what you've been doing is natural, but this is learned behavior, and we're about ready to take you to a next level on how to enhance your relationship.
Now, if you're sick and tired of having all of these petty issues come between you, if you are exhausted from every time that you have interaction with your spouse, it turns into drama, then this is where you want to be. You want to sign up for couple communication. You want to take this program together, and I guarantee you that you are going to love it.
Stop telling yourself that tomorrow you're going to do better. Stop saying to yourself, tomorrow I'll find that program. Today's your opportunity to do something not only for yourself, but for all those around you.
In couple communication, you're going to learn a brand new process. This process is going to help you avoid ever fighting over petty stuff again. It's going to take you to a new level in your relationship as you learn how to listen for understanding, to clearly articulate and share from your own experience. You're going to get on the mats. You're going to have notepads. You're going to learn skills that you're going to be like, wow, if only I had known this at the beginning.
It's not too late. We are all on this journey. We are all on this continuous improvement plan. But guess what? You have to take the first step and let today be that first step for you and your significant other.
If you're ready to like each other again and be on the same team, this is the program for you. Sign up today.
So let me ask you this question. Tom, how many years you been doing this?
I've been in this position for 10 years. I've been doing reentry related work for about 15.
Give us a high. Give us a celebration that you saw, something that you put your hands on, and when you seen it all the way to the end.
Like progress.
Yeah.
One of the things that's memorable, I don't know if it's there's so many highs that it's so hard to pick out, but Julia Bates, our elected county prosecutor, called me. She said, Tom, I need you to form a team of reentry people. We have a gentleman that's getting out. It was in the media. Nathan, can I say a name?
It's up to you.
There was a gentleman in Lucas County getting out who was serving a 20-year definite sentence for a murder spree in Lucas County. Him and his brother were both involved in it. His brother was serving life without parole. They came to a deal back 20 years ago. Julia Bates was the prosecutor on the case. All the families consented that he would serve a 20-year sentence to get out. Well, that 20 years came.
Wow.
And as they were going through the court system, he was brought back to the county jail. She wanted us to go up and meet with him to assure him that, there's help here for you. He was a little bit older. He's in his 60s. The families were appalled that he was getting out, but they had agreed to the plea deal 20 years ago because the DNA was a little shaky back then, and the state thought they may lose the case. So the time came, and we worked with him. I remember going out to the hallway to speak with Alexis Means, who's with Channel 13, and she turned her camera on to talk to me. Then this was national coverage. We had about 40 TV cameras in the hallway. And at that moment, they all turned on me. And I didn't expect that. But, it was the right thing to do is to give them the services. Then Julia had pulled me into the grand jury room where she had all the victims' families convened.
Oh, my.
And she wanted me and Mike Hampton to explain to them what we do in reentry. And that was tough because it's tough because, nobody was there for their family when the acts happened.
Right.
But now he was getting out, and we've been able to make sure he's successful. He had a job. They found out who he was. He lost that job. Luckily, now through some of the help Willie Knighton was able to give, he's on Social Security. Social Security now.
Wow.
He's living with his girlfriend. I think he's going to marry. He's just laying low and
staying out the way
and living life.
He just knows this could be a challenge wherever he goes to try to work. But everybody thought he's going to get out and he's going to start this again. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And most people there on a murder case don't come home and say, hey, I'm going to do that again.
Right.
They're going to be successful. And I don't care what the offense is. In fact, most of the time I never even ask them, what did you go to prison for? It's like, when did you get out? How long did you do? That's all I need to know. I don't need to know what you went for. And then we try to provide the help. But that's one of the more memorable because Julia Bates reaching out to us and really pulling us in to help him. And she saw the need there, and she really supports reentry. She prosecutes people in Lucas County. That's her job.
Right.
But she is one of the biggest proponents of reentry.
Because
she knows it's effective. She knows it works.
Yeah.
We know by studies that it takes 21 points of connections. In other words, an individual needs 21 points. The Ridge Project being one, the Reentry Coalition being one. That's two, right? But then even in all the different collaborations, so you need 21 points of connection for complete success.
Sure.
So and it's we don't think about that. We're like, oh yeah, I know the mailman, I know a doctor, I know this, and then as people come home, they're like, I don't even know anybody. I don't know anybody to help me. And it's like, okay, let's just put you right here in this, which Lucas County is super easy because you've made it easy in Lucas County with the Reentry Coalition.
And the going home.
You show up here on first Wednesdays, you are going to be connected to at least 21 different resources.
Absolutely.
So and that's with that, let's talk about that. If somebody was coming home to Lucas County, what could they expect? What could they get from you guys?
The first Wednesday of the month, oftentimes people will call me and they'll ask me when that is. And we advertise quite a bit into the institutions. I think the word's out there. It's on Relink, Relink on the tablets. It's out there as much as we can get it out there. But when they do come home, it's 11 to 1 on the first Wednesday of every single month. We've been doing it since 2007. There was one year we had a level 3 where you're not supposed to drive.
Right.
We were already down at the government center. We still held the event. We had about 20 people show up that day. They got the help they needed, or at least we took names and we followed up with them. So we're always there. Occasionally we move it. Next month for Second Chance Month, we're moving to Ohio Means Jobs on Savania Avenue. Then we've been 4 years in a row, we've been holding our June event at the Museum of Art, which is really good because any of the participants can get a ticket to get into the museum.
Oh, that's awesome.
And a lot of them haven't, ever been into the museum to see the great stuff there. So we've developed a partnership with them. But, we have 30 resource providers in one spot, all set up, all there for one reason, to help the person coming home be successful, and never go back to the institution.
That's awesome.
So I don't think any of us want people to go back.
So if you read that, that's what you guys represent right there.
Yeah, it's never a one-man show.
Success is never a one-man show.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I know when I came home from prison, I didn't make it by myself.
Oh, no.
I had people.
Yeah, and I didn't make the journey of the 15 years he was in prison by myself.
Sure.
It's like
Sure.
if I didn't have all these connections of people walking with me, connecting me to resources, we never would have made it.
Yep.
And I mean, that's why we're so passionate. So we're getting ready to wind down and come to a close of our podcast. So we would like you, Tom, to just give some advice to our listeners if there is one thing or more.
Fathers, mothers, men, women.
Yeah. Like what would you like to say? And if you would look right in that camera.
Yeah, I always talk about hope. Everybody coming home, I've had many clients tell me, I'm coming out on this date, I'm never going back. I've heard I'm never going back, and many times, and I've had many people go back. Just know when you have that hope, you have hope when you're coming home. The hope that I'm never going to go back to the institution. Well, we can maintain that hope. At least in Lucas County, we do it very well. We have the services there to wrap around you, to help you get your driver's license, help you get housing, help you get employment, help you get transportation, get your driver's license back. We have services in place, and that removes barriers, and that continues to give you hope every time a positive thing like that happens. So we move individuals to a place where they're in a good position to keep a job, maintain a job, and then not have to go out and take something or commit a criminal act on the street and then end up going back to prison. Because as you know, most judges, once you've been there, will see that on the record, and next time you have an offense, you're going back. So the big focus I have for individuals coming home is keep that hope alive. When you get home, we'll help maintain that hope by removing barriers for you. And Lucas County, I know Lucas County very well because I'm from Lucas County and work here. We've done the same thing around the state. We've created more reentry coalitions around the state. You have access to them on the tablets. Those coalitions are supported through work we do with the Ohio Association of Local Reentry Coalitions that I'm the president of. So we are really trying to pass our knowledge onto the newer coalitions in hopes that they create the same hope in their communities for people coming back to the counties that you are all going back to. But when you come back to Lucas County, make sure you come to Going Home to Stay the first Wednesday of the month, and we'll have a lot of people there to help you keep that hope alive.
Thank you. Great word.
Awesome.
Keep hope alive.
Yeah.
Keep hope
Tom,
alive.
thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's been awesome.
Appreciate it. Yes.
It's
Good
been
seeing
great
you.
to have you
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you all for letting us be part of your journey. And until next time, always remember that we are rooting for you.